Let's start with a division I know. How about that?
NFC East.
Let's do it. All right, we got the Cowboys plus 130, Eagles plus 190, the Commanders plus 450, the Giants at plus 900. Those are the odds to win their division. And then Imp, win totals, Giants at 7, Commanders at 8, the Cowboys at 10.5, and the Eagles at 9.5. And before I let you give me your thoughts, last year the records were 12-5 Dallas, 9-8 Eagles, Commanders 7 wins, Giants 4 wins.
I'm highest on the Eagles because I think when they changed their offense about a quarter of the way through the NFL season last year, it was night and day. They pivoted from, hey, Jalen Hurts, throw the ball 30 times a game, to, hey, Jalen Hurts, throw the ball 18, 20 times a game. We'll incorporate some more runs. And when they shifted to that kind of dominant running game, a little bit of the way through the season, everything changed, and they made the playoffs, and they were outmatched by Tampa without question in that first game. But I think, that's invaluable experience, and I think they're going to ride that. And then you bring in, talk about a stud receiver. It's like, and that was one of the holes on the roster because the offensive line is very good. The quarterback can make plays.
If you're an Eagles fan, you're probably defending Jalen Hurts, saying, he wasn't really throwing anyone good, so that's why he didn't look as good. Like I always have said, and I'll still say that going into next year, he's a better fantasy. Like I would love to have him on my fantasy team because he can run, and the rushing is more than the passing, and he's more explosive on the ground than he is throwing. But also, you look and it's like, Greg Ward.
Yeah.
And Zach Ertz.
RCA Whiteside.
Yeah, Whiteside. And then, Jalen Reagor. And, Devontae Smith was good, but still a rookie, right? He went through his ups and downs, too. So now you're looking at Devontae Smith. You got A.J. Brown, a healthy Miles Sanders. Finally, he's a guy who I've held stock on at the running back position. You're right. I'm probably the highest on the Eagles, and I hate that I got to say that, but just looking at it from, a professional standpoint, not a fan standpoint, I think I would say right now, early, they're my pick to win the division. Plus 190. I like their win total. It's 9.5. They went 9-8 last year, and I think it's an upgrade for their team. And this is also a anti-Dallas Cowboys. Like, I'm off Dallas. They're going to play a first place schedule. As you look at the schedule for the Cowboys,
they were so hot and cold last year.
They just, until proven otherwise, man, why should I believe in them when all they've done is constantly in big spots just let them down?
Yeah.
Remember last year they blow out a team
and then
they get blown out, and it happened like in a 4 consecutive week situation. First half of the season is going to tell us all we need to know about Dallas. They open up against Tampa Bay. They play the Bengals, Rams, and Eagles.
You'd be happy if you're 2-2. Ecstatic.
They're tied for the easiest strength of schedule based off last year's records.
Interesting.
Because they have home games against the Lions and the Bears, and then they play the Texans and Jaguars, as well as 2 games against the Giants. But this is another example of why the schedule is so important, because Dallas out the gates,
tough.
I might not want to bet them,
but
to win the Super Bowl at 18-1. Maybe I could get them at 25-1 come.
Maybe they're 1-3
or middle of October.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it because I still don't believe in them. But I'm saying as a hypothetical for you to understand why the schedule is so important.
If you want to bet them, do it then.
Yeah.
If that's the case. Yeah, no, I feel you. I think the Giants are going to be better. I love Brian Daboll.
The Giants are finally in a position, bro, where they're making moves that make sense to what they're doing. The thing that I hated about Gettleman was the team was in a clear rebuild, and he was addressing it like it was a rebuild, but then making win-now moves.
Galladay,
Saquon Barkley, just those decisions. And then you draft a Daniel Jones, and it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are we drafting Daniel Jones now when we could have drafted a quarterback the year we got before. Barkley? So, like, the things didn't make sense. Now it's like, all right, we're cleaning house. All these bad contracts that Dave Gettleman gave out, we're getting rid of him. Bradbury, you're awesome. You're still a really good corner, but we're in a rebuild. We're not going to give you $15 million a year. Logan Ryan, same shit.
He got traded, right, Bradbury?
Nah, they released him.
They released him.
So like now with Daboll
And
Schoen.
Schoen.
Yeah.
Bean is still in. That was Bean's right hand man.
Right. You have guys that run a team like a 2020 kind of NFL team.
And I believe in that front office because
How could you not if you're looking at what Buffalo built?
I mean, they talk about the number one turnaround for a quarterback. And not only that, what I think is so fascinating about Buffalo is it's this idea of the team. Like, how many, like, there aren't really many stars on the team. Like, think about the Bills.
Well, you've always been at it with the, like, they don't have a good weapon unit.
I mean, it's Diggs.
It's Diggs, yeah. Maybe Gabriel Davis after that.
Yeah,
but he ain't going to drop 4 touchdowns a game.
But
you're right. Overall, it's not.
How many guys on the Bills do you know? You're a bad example.
Right, but I hear what you're saying. Like, how many are starting on your fantasy team?
Or how many guys are household names?
Yeah, it's probably Diggs and the quarterback, and then probably Cole Beasley for, polarizing takes.
And the safeties.
Yeah. No, but they have a very well
balanced team.
Yeah.
Well built. And I think that has a lot to do with the team, that front office. And Brandon Bean, by the way, the Bills do this YouTube series where they really kind of give you a peek under the hood for what they're doing from a draft perspective. And they had the kid,
McDuffie?
No, the kid they drafted, 20. I'm looking for right now. Kaira Elam.
Elam. Oh, McDuffie was who the Chiefs took. That's why I got mistaken.
So Elam gets drafted 23rd. Which, by the way, was part of the trade with Arizona, Baltimore, Buffalo. That pick got moved around a couple times. They take that kid, Elam. They flashed back. I don't know. I tweeted the video out. I don't know if you saw it. It was him showing up to their, like, it was like a draft visit or during the combine. Bro, he showed up. It was the coach, the GM, the defensive coordinator. They're all sitting around. Elam shows up with a notebook, thick. It was a University of Florida notebook. That's where he went to school. It was a thick notebook. He goes, I love taking notes. He goes, I take notes on, the other team, what they do, mistakes that I've made, things that I could do. Bro, this book, when I show you, it was thick and the whole shit was full. Bro, they're just like, here's just the GM and that front office. They're just like going through this notebook while he's talking, and you could tell that guy fucking loves football, man. Like. And I think those are the guys
that they want to build with.
Yeah. And that's why I thought, like, Kayvon Thibodeau, man, like, he got the short end of the stick, bro. Like, people were up in arms because the guy like NFTs, the guy's into crypto, and like, yo.
And he was worried about building, not worried, but he mentioned one of the things was like, yo, I would love to play in a big market. Because they kept asking him about New York, and I was telling Alan this.
And also, sorry to cut you off, but there was 2 New York teams in the top 10. Of course you're going to speak to that.
Right.
You're like selling yourself to 2 of the teams that are going to draft you potentially.
Right. And they mentioned like, oh, you worried about the distraction and shit. He's like, nah, one of the reasons why I would love to play in a city like New York is I want to build my personal brand. And I look up to a guy like Michael Strahan, and the clip came from a soundbite of him being interviewed prior to the draft by Michael Kay, who has the big talk show in New York. He's the Yankee guy too, but he has a show with Peter Rosenberg from Hot 97, and they're asking him this, and they completely leave out the part where Thibodeau is like, yo, I want to build my personal brand. And one of my mentors is Michael Strahan, who has blossomed into the second part of his career. And he's a megastar now. He's a household name. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, like my grandma knows who he is now. She didn't know who he was because of the Giants. She's like, oh, he's the guy that does
same thing, Nate Burleson.
The morning shows and shit. Yeah, Nate Burleson's done an amazing job over there transitioning. But Strahan was like, yo, bro, I don't get all those chances if I didn't ball on the field. And I became a Hall of Famer, and I won a Super Bowl. So, yeah, like, all that shit is good.
He understands it.
Yeah, you got to play.
And
I just recently, hate to cut you off, I recently just rewatched The Last Dance. Jordan, when he's talking about his sneakers, he's like, that all happened because I was performing on the court.
Yeah.
He's like, if I was averaging 2 points a game,
no one would buy my sneakers.
No one's buying my sneakers.
And I also think, to be fair to Tib,
And what's wrong with that, bro?
Nah, there's
Doesn't
nothing.
everybody care about their personal brand now?
yeah, he's just a little bit more honest about it.
Yeah, he's just not beating. He's being transparent.
And you know what's so funny about the NFT thing? That was actually Phil Knight's idea. Thibodeau went to Oregon. I was hearing some pre-draft interview where Thibodeau was explaining his relationship with Oregon or whatever. He goes, yeah, one day, Phil Knight called me. He goes, but I didn't have his number saved. And he called himself Philip on the phone. He goes, hey, hey, Kayvon, this is Philip. And like, for the first 5 minutes of the conversation, Thibodeau didn't even know who he was talking to. Lo and behold, it's Phil Knight, the guy who pretty much he started Nike and he's like the biggest Oregon donor. It was Phil Knight's idea to get him into the NFTs. So it's almost like not fair in a way, because first of all young kids are into that shit anyway. Second of all, it came from like this media mogul who ran the school that he went to. So it's not like it was like this fabrication, this shit that came out of nowhere. Like, it's all kind of almost accounted for in a way. Not that it needs to be accounted for in the first place, but I'm just saying, like, it's clearly like there was a story. Like, he got to Oregon, he balled out, got tight with Phil Knight, obviously built that relationship, and then he, his personality, XYZ. So I just think he's getting the short end of the stick a little bit in terms of all of that personality, XYZ. Fuck that.
But bro, I just don't understand what the big deal is if a dude or a woman want to worry about their personal brand while they're playing.
Yeah.
Bro, Blue Wire has so many active athletes that are on the network, and they have their own shows and podcasts and do guest spots like consistently throughout. Like, people do that shit all the time.
I think it's
Durant has the boardroom.
Yeah.
LeBron has uninterrupted. Like, they're doing all this shit to build themselves for when, for as much money as they're making, I know this is going to sound crazy because we're talking about people that make $20, $30 million a year, but eventually that shit's going to run out.
And also,
they want to set up themselves for after. Like, yo, you retire. You're 35 years old. Bro, I'm 31.
You also don't know what your identity is lost too.
And think about it. You're retiring at 35, 36 years old from playing a sport. That means if I was a professional athlete right now, in 5 years, I'd be like looking for what's life after
next?
this. You know how many athletes I talk to after they finish playing, and they're like
tough.
You hear some bad stories, bro.
That's your identity. And I also think, no. Fuck, I lost my chain of thought. It's just like not fair, because
it's not a fair criticism.
It's not fair. And I think where it's coming from is you're not established yet. I think that's what it is, right? It's like you're nobody, which is not the case. You're the number 5 pick in the draft. With NIL now, you could have been a millionaire before you even got here. So, you old man, chill, because I'm great at what I do, even if I haven't done it where you're at yet. Like.